There's a saying that when football forgets its history, it's doomed to replay its defeat. They say football on the referee na bako sembia. Ana de ne ko empempen bia ansha de esi atwam bi no. Ana din se wo betimi asa akɔhwɛ no asade aba. Na me say ya de referee asa so ayeden abrew. The man make asem we nyina na say there are various things that have happened in football. In synergy with certain clubs we are involved. So for example, obeshe biti say the history of the Calciopoli. We had the Crampona Juventus humbe boom kakra because when I'm commodity and nyoma we break off the buy. But o check the rate at which the Serie A is being played out. And nyoma mienu ani yete anum se you know. When it comes to the Serie A title race. One, a bit me about say Liga ye boy one team penny baby as no waje. Watch your points in ma points no be inclusive. So it could be say Napoli bet me lose in the next games in Inter Milan be found no beji league no. It could also mean say Napoli bet me lose only one game. Na Inter Milan share. Then for the second time in the history of the competition, Yababebo playoff. Since the inaugural season of the Italian Serie A in 1929-1930, you bought several playoff games to determine relegation, to determine European Cup, to determine a lot of things. But only one spare. And you bought the playoffs in the history of the Italian Serie A
to determine the
champion. Get America se bibi ebesibia ni in synergy with certain clubs near say. The last time na ECN was in 1963-1964 season. And then se Bologna come abako se moi. One of their best seasons are omanya in the history of the Italian Serie A. Another club that was involved in that particular situation was Italy. And obia so ye comparative analysis na opeso de Bologna abaswa or go back to 1962, 1963, 1964. No agina so aka say emretintin sei ana Bologna abra league na wa bona oni AC Milan Inter Milan yes ana mo de ba bontin say there be Bologna players be because they had a good squad. It was dominated by the Fantastic Four: Helmut Holler, Fogli, Borganari, Nelson Harad, Omokofano after the Rome Olympics. In 1962, 1963, was 19 goals. 63, 64, Bologna League, no 21 league goals.
Okay.
Top striker. And almost Oma fan Dubone. 3 days later, no, Oma fan in Dubone in Tiamomo, ye don't be kwa mumu time. League nese, kwa mbe faso, yesi mla faso biya muntimini league ni biyano, o muntiminye. But yera di kakra. During that time, na Italian Serie A clubs akwa signing a document to say, omuni omu federation na say league ni mpanyifo omu for mu nkokot because clubs ni na assign bi. It is a munya case bi na wontimi ntam ho mfa ho pete na nkokot nkoka se me de league ne ba court de bia nya adwuma. Iti omu twi forms so no de bo omu ne yese. Bologna supporters mi yese bi sore se da bi. Ye ntwema sa de wonye dai. Enkoso. But fast forward Inter Milan ko se Bologna. E wo Bologna fie. That means Inter Milan e bia league ni mo wo so timije. But good results against Catania, against Pal, even Fulvio Bernardini no your coach no. You're banning for 18 solid months with the key players in the Mukotna baby. But you see, any say, a yire, you know, and a court bar when said there be as some now supporters in the buy no cray. That time, no money in Tamlan yet tied on points. No, we see Davy. There was a points near the money a day at the moment. No, with the Mao, Monomusa reinstall Fulvio Bernardini. And the next games they went on money on Bayer tied on points. So Bologna won the playoffs by 2-0. The Inter-America synergy season teams aligned with this story in Nigeria say, and they didn't come on as you heard the playoffs of the Italian Serie A. 18 men yes about the DB, men Inter Milan. But in Bologna, a on Napoli. But the entire Bologna so who bomb near say, who is 63, 64 neighbor na Bologna and be papa beer beam to the last 2 seasons are on my fighting a realm into the Champions League playoffs. So whenever Bologna's form is up there, Inter Milan has come into this particular question, and the last time a CCAB playoffs in the Italian Serie A happened in 63.
Root to me, 101.3. Nyamin Sawo.
Very likely say Lecce, because fancy. The Egeka Kono, Lecce, I think Lecce is 1 point or 2 points off the relegation zone, maybe a Modano. And it will be very critical for them, say, and now make many good results there at Napoli. At the same time, Inter Milan in any to am said the Champions League in the return leg because first leg no went me and be fancy. And Barcelona team where a team will make me a true musu in the form. It is one balance with team ni no one fair good results are was so beshi, but they are playing against Hellas Verona. Our mobile the Stadio di Giuseppe Meazza. Now, Inter Milan will need to instill hope in their fans using this particular game as a makeshift. Because once setting the foundation in the standard now, don't crave for an atmosphere on Tuesday. Now, you need a certain level of atmosphere. There is quality on the pitch, there is quality in tactics, there is quality in systems, but you do 2 years of supporters and the 12 man a push.
True.
It is what these games setting the tone, the mouth towards the Champions League game, especially when you are playing at home. Because all Lusu game will Giuseppe Meazza, Barcelona will be very much confident coming into this particular contest. And I'm feel Verona Crayusro we muna over bay. But ultimately, now more a specific atmosphere be Barcelona so teacher because there be and conform normal renew home form ne it was a careful going into this particular game. It at all costs, Inter Milan might not be able to field key players be to sell Marcus Thuram because I believe that no one Togusu Kaka football fits. But Ebia Marco Anatovic, Mehdi Taremi, these guys will need to step up for Inter Milan Yamiado because Ubo Hellas Verona, we are Taremi, we are Anatovic, Ubo Inter Milan. Now ultimately for team ways you are betting. Now for your resource and far more move here, meaning you have no business playing for Inter Milan next season.
Yeah.
It is ene we are Stefan de Vrij now be natural one ma edi kwan say odiem nyoma bebre momoko Matteo Damien, Carlos Augusto, solid players. But I believe that this is a game Inter Milan will not sit at home lose going into a Champions League game abra a crucial encounter against Barcelona. Inter Milan to win either half on a safe note. Anytime goal scorer, make for Marco Anatovic and I say Federico Di Marco in this particular game. But Lecce in Napoli, they are an American. Lecce has been good travelers against big size. Because Marco Lazio ni Lazio akobo 2-2 biaba. Marco nyanya draw crucial frustrating results against some of the top sides in the Italian Serie A away. But I will fear no results in India because in the last 9 games Lecce abo fear no fancy we draw 3 and we lose 6. But two different moments for these two teams. Baby a Verona than Verona pray for the end. But baby a Lecce than Lecce pray so be survive because baby a Verona than Verona is 6 points away from the relegation zone. Meaning 4 points adrift from being in the safe zone, 40 points. It only a pressure said and yet I want to be any subebri. But Lecce no baby or than so lusune. Monza money o monko for no mo didi o mo chini nyina be pushi dia ba be sign no and o relegation na so hye beba. If you are playing a wounded lion, fancy this is a game I be kon why very careful kakrama me. Napoli to win either half. Napoli and more also some Lecce because of more quality team. I'm not saying it's more also, but I'm always being careful due to the situation at Lecce. I finding themselves where they to survive say omonko relegation to Napoli to win either half in this particular game and even over 1.5
okay
in this particular game between Napoli. Prevention is better than cure. There is Roma and Fiorentina 1.10 is a pity on you know. I think Claudio Ranieri is not celebrated enough.
101.3
but on you celebrated enough. Ni nyuma gua, ni nyuma kasa kire de bia se coach we. Opa ebu no, opa memu no, opa men celebrate no. Ni nyuma ye dey eguo. I've always said say Jose Mourinho adwuma be ye in 2005, 2006, 2004, 2005 foundation Claudio Ranieri ne lay with Chelsea. So let's not forget in 2003, 2004 and your Claudio Ranieri a year or Chelsea ni baby or the Chelsea drew and son of Jose Mourinho be day ebefa to no lay foundation no. So Jose Mourinho needed to come and pick up the team and force it, instill winning mentality, push the team and the Premier League back to back. Now, Wakofa Leicester City, the Leicester City Ababeji League with the Premier League in him. How many times they will search a fairy tale story? Or the one in Ngolo content than drink water and West Morgan. Iti o baby a wakɔ ne nam ni nyinaa o say coach ni wa jai ni to so coach bi o tifie wa dwen ne ho na ene na coach onu tifie a everybody say we say we real school si book lukra won kan akiola series ni bi o buy kra na obeye ba o buy ya imas a wo solve o board no so kra chen nipa kra ro no ni gina pack no so no and what classroom kra na o sua de no and 18 games undefeated. Fancy, this is not a small feat. 18 solid games. Now, how many teams going to bet me 10 games undefeated? And this is a Roma team I know be enemy say. But and your mama realizing you know the Ababeka team no. One, the mentality of the team has changed. Two, the physical flaws of the team no wa pejem. Mehe Indika, Manu Kone, Pellegrini, Fancy, man-to-man marking. 6 feet and what? 20 now come you can't even want me shake your more off easily. It's among the likes of Sulemo, a fan no more born in the 2 net. Fiorentina air concerned almost a conference league ball. Crucial because Robert is a show 2-1. Roma to win either half in this particular game. Bologna Juventus, Medica Bologna once them. They will qualify for the Champions League again. Juventus are careful in that particular game. Vincenzo Italiano. Or more Coppa Italia final ball. But Pessoa secure on itself. Because when you win the Coppa Italia, it takes you to the Europa League. It doesn't take you to the Champions League. Champions League not be your money. And on what about the Kasem say, Omu free muno, I be your mama results be omunyani say no. The confidence of my picking from the Champions League, meeting some top teams. And I'm also more believe in themselves. Say, do you want to your money? Medie. Bologna ni Juventus there. Fancy say Juventus back she Bologna away. Renato De Lara hono stadium mono. Difficult. Me remember Bologna handicap one goal. Okay. In this particular game. Yaba man there I be AC Milan there differently. But Premier League they also hit it up. Especially for the top 4 race. Because for the Italian Serie A there is league and there is top 4. But for the Premier League it is only about the top 4 because it's any there. Liverpool League, they are confirming that I cried. I told you, but it's not top 4 in Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Manchester City. Who about 5 teams or more play? So we move to the top 4. Then this weekend there is Chelsea and Liverpool. What is the motivation for Liverpool? The motivation for Liverpool here say as lot person more accumulating 90 points in EB. No more season with 91, 92, 93, 94 because league is a waje. So between the two, press about Chelsea is also because Omakunya good results in the Conference League. They don't need to worry about a return leg. But for the top 4, there is a need to get some good results. What your Chelsea players now? Almost match number 1 is Sunday near special. Match number 1 is Sunday need to say. But what's a test of character for this particular Chelsea team? Fancy last season no fairly. A test of character for this Chelsea team. The last season no fairly as absolutely. This time around, no, they will need to some bet we are seeing and I say Maresca also say Mauricio Pochettino no buy any as well failing no. Oh buy no. What mean the team not track or a certain level. Yankasa the Chelsea are illegal. And I top 4 near Chelsea standard derby. But the reality is that is where Chelsea find themselves. So they will need to fight to enter into the Champions League due to the amount of money you must spend it. So if they will need to fight the next step towards a project no my na. Or my involve almost around Conference League one nothing until one ano or make graduate the Rome Champions League next season to give the team the boost and confidence. Difficult game where they goes over 1.5 and Abetimako over 2.5. Anytime goal scorer Ubetimako Eddie Amako Palmer this weekend obesi form. I could not be shaking on. I'll be shaking on. because na penalty bi akwa kushu
101.3 Nyaminsawo
obeshiki overlook players like Nicholas Jackson so in this particular game. So best step up. Liverpool be try be on be changes back but good results for Manchester City and Wolves for the Drainy City pa.
Omunya chances be cry no some.
Omu Drainy City brutal.
Mate.
But I think good results for Manchester City. But Aston Villa will look forward so on to be against Fulham. But Marco Silva no so do games say na home one ba no. Almost wa pejal match our dream is sukra no. Eho ana Marco Silva hard dream in this particular encounter. Arsenal and Bournemouth enko ha ho ye careful.
Enko kra na. Whoa, Mate me say Mike.